welcome. Happy New Year to the headline. I'm your host, Larry H. Gardner. The A stands for Happy New Year. We have made it through 2025, even though some of us had reservations about it, but we are here. Joining me on WNRV 108.1.com, Nerve DJs, where we get on your absolutely, positively nerve, and I'm going to keep doing it all the way up until 2026. So, Adrian, Miss Scott is in the building, along with the human T-Rex on the ones and twos. We lost some people this past, right before 2025, actually. First of all, President Jimmy Carter, who passed away at 100 years old, former President Jimmy Carter. Mm-hmm. Also, we lost Linda Lavin of Alice. And Greg Gumbel, the sportscaster Greg Gumbel, will truly be missed, and of course his brother Bryant is out there. So there's been a lot goings on, so, like, especially after that. Get right there to in a minute. First of all, we got to talk about Elon Musk trying to be president, trying to run Trump's cabinet. Also, there's some sports scandals at Fox Sports 1, as well as, of course, the Cleveland Browns finished their season at 3-14, and they have the number 2 draft pick behind the Tennessee Titans. We got some bowl games going on. Shout out to the Cavaliers of Ohio State University. Ohio State taking on Texas in the Cotton Bowl this Friday in the semifinals for the playoff for the national championship. Of course, they beat down number 1 team Oregon on New Year's Day. And the Cleveland Cavaliers will be taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder. East versus the best of the East. The Cavaliers at 31-4 versus the best in the West, the OKC Thunder at 30-5. So
that's gonna
be like, downtown gonna be rocking despite the 27-degree weather, despite the snow.
And I think they said they're doing some type of events downtown before the game too. It's gonna be a whole.
It's gonna be a whole thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But first, what happened in 2 places on New Year's Eve, close to New Year's Day? We go into 2025 with some bombs and run over. So, first of all, in New Orleans, Louisiana, there was a terrorist attack where a man decided to run through a crowd with a truck
on Bourbon Street
on Bourbon Street on New Year's Eve. Of course, Bourbon Street was going to be crowded, and decided to just run over some folk. This was deliberate. Plus, they found a bomb in his truck.
They found, I think, 4 altogether.
4 altogether. So it was not only did he find he also killed 14 people.
Injured 45.
Injured 45 others. Now, as you know, Bourbon Street in New Orleans is crowded anyway, but the fact of the matter is that it's going to be especially crowded on New Year's Eve. But the thing about it is like the terrorist, was killed by local authorities. But after that, they had to suspend the Sugar Bowl between Georgia and Notre Dame. By the way, Notre Dame is going to be in the other semifinal, taking on Penn State on Thursday, January 9th, which, had them, people waiting and stuff like that, all that other stuff like that.
They had to make sure it wasn't no bombs in the Superdome. I think people would have rather they been safe and cautious than to be up in there trying to enjoy the Sugar Bowl and end up scattered across the ground like what we saw on Bourbon Street. So,
well, I don't understand. I'm with a tragedy like that. It's like hotels will make extra accommodations. I mean, it was just 24 hours. Like, y'all can't wait 24 hours. I'm surprised that they did the game within 24 hours rather than wait maybe a couple of more days. But, people got to get back on campus and school and stuff like that, or go home and things of that nature. So understandably, when you have something like that, you have to be wary about that. I'm just glad that, nothing else happened. But this was not an isolated incident. I don't think so. We may see some more crazy stuff in 2025. Told you 2025 is going to be, considering that, Trump is going to be inaugurated on Martin Luther King Day on January 20th. And a lot of people are mad about that. Like, very upset about that. Like, how are you going to inaugurate this man knowing that he didn't care about MLK's legacy on January 20th is beyond me. But
it's not beyond me, because what we're seeing is just them showing us blatant disrespect in our face and letting us know that they don't care about us. Like, what has started will continue. I do believe the events that took place in New Orleans, the events that took place in Texas. I also believe the event with the lady on the subway. I think it's all connected, and I think we're gonna see a whole lot more of that.
This is turning to be violent, bloody. For 14 people got killed by that driver, including a couple of college students that were just enjoying their times, fathers and stuff like that, and mothers. Remember,
it was I don't know if you've seen the videos. If you guys have not watched the videos, do not watch the video. They are very disturbing. He ran over somebody's head, and the brain was on the ground. That was because what is left, I don't have no words. I
have no words either. So, prayers to those, and silence for pretty much. I'm going to take a moment of silence for everybody that passed away in that tragedy. So let's give us 10 seconds to take a moment of silence to do that. T-Rex. All right. So, along with all the others that were lost in 2024 and 2025. Speaking of President-elect Trump, a Cybertruck was blown up in front of a Tesla Cybertruck was blown up in front of his Trump Tower in Vegas. I'm just glad my sister and my brother-in-law are safe. I guess they tried to blow up the Trump Tower, but the Cybertruck had a bomb thing in it, or
like a heat sensor, whatever it was. It was, it was like equipped so that it was able to contain the explosion within the truck. So the only thing that blew up was the Tesla truck and maybe like the ground around it, but it didn't actually blow up the Trump hotel, which I'm happy that we didn't lose another mass number of lives due to that, what could have been a even more tragic incident. And then both of them were ex-militaries who had been on the same training base. I thought that was odd.
It's not odd. You train to kill. Pretty much, you're on military. You are trained to take somebody's life, and apparently.
And they said they support ISIS.
See, the thing about it is, like, a lot of hopefully there's not a whole bunch of things that will happen like that, but unfortunately, what we're seeing. Despite some incidents of maybe, people shooting up in the air, knocking out cable cords, or whatever, or wires or whatever, or, just hitting towers. I have never known a tragedy where we had stuff like this on New Year's Eve, like in all my lifetime. And
I think it's a message, and I think it's a message that we can't ignore. When you start talking about sending foreign people back to places where there's fighting and there's certain death, and you talk about ripping people from their families, you're gonna get this type of reaction. Let's just be honest. The attacks was very well planned out. They might seem like they were sloppy, but they wasn't. The attack on the subway, that was a subway full of people. That's letting you know that, hey, this is. We can do this in front of a mass number of people. Same thing with New Orleans. Same thing with the Trump Hotel. What they're showing is that we have no issue with taking out mass numbers of people.
Right. Well, this has been a sea of violence. Unfortunately, bringing in the new year as supposed to be a happy time, is supposed to be, you know, especially the holiday season where you're supposed to be celebrating, you know, you getting through another year with hopefully everything intact. But a lot of people have lost family members this time of year between Christmas and New Year, and it's sad, period. But we should remember the ones they lost, and those who have committed these particular crimes, they should be punished. I mean, the terrorist attack in New Orleans, the attacker was put down, and he is now deceased.
I mean, he did open up a fire on the police, so.
Well,
didn't expect that.
Well, you get what you get if you do that.
We're not crying for it.
Right? You know, we don't care. You know, it's like, you know, what is it? F around and find out. That's what happened. So, the other thing, and going towards the sports thing, but it's mostly local city politics now. Justin Bibb and the Bibb administration have opened up the Modell rule, like Art Modell, who moved the old Browns to Baltimore. They became the Ravens, and we see what happened there. He is invoking the Modell rule for the Browns not to move 15 to 20 minutes to Brook Park, even though they'll still be the Cleveland Browns. They'll be in a new stadium. So the Haslams are trying to, Jimmy and Dee Haslams are trying to fight that, but it's a lawsuit from the city of Cleveland,
as it should be,
against the Haslams, the owner of the Cleveland Browns. So,
as it should be. The amount of money that they are putting into downtown Cleveland and fixing up downtown Cleveland, the amount of money that the restaurants, the hotel, just the amount of money that Cleveland as a whole will lose with the Browns, and it's just moving with their training camp to Brook Park.
No, it's the host. It's the stadium.
Oh, it's the entire stadium. Most definitely. I mean, because Brook Park is not even Cleveland no more. That's Farmington. So depending on where they moving that on Brook Park,
it's still in Cuyahoga County.
But Cleveland doesn't get those. So Brook Park is real tricky because there are different areas of Brook Park that fall into different city limits. So depending on where they stationed, Cleveland might not see none of those funds, and that would mean Cleveland losing out on a lot of money.
Well, the thing about it is like, you know, from the other side of it, there you still got the Cavaliers downtown, you still got the Guardians downtown.
The Browns have tailgate parties that bring out big numbers.
Right. Also, but they better get a better product from the field. You know, 3-14 is not acceptable to this Browns fan right here. I don't want to hear nobody complaining about it. Into all you Steeler fans, listen. Don't get on my nerves today. But here's the thing, though. I understand that, but a lot of fans want to see a dome, and the reason why they want to see a dome because of the inclement weather. Now,
I agree.
Minnesota has a dome. The Detroit Lions have a dome, and they live in cold weather cities. Now, Buffalo doesn't have a dome, but
they need to.
But you know, it is what it is with them. But the thing about it is like a lot of people want to see a dome because of the simple fact of the matter is we just had, you know, wrestling events here, and they want WrestleMania in Cleveland. You know, WWE has now, instead of being on WWE Raw, has been on Netflix, and it was to a huge success, except one wrestler getting booed out the building. But we'll get to that later. But what they want to do is do a sports entertainment to where that the stadium is used all year round,
so
instead
a sports entertainment complex,
right?
As opposed to just being specifically
before football.
Mm-hmm.
So would make millions of money, and I'm sure that it would be a sharing situation. But
yes and no, because think of again, it goes back. So for maybe me and you, it wouldn't be a difference because we're not worried about going into that Brook Park area. But you got to think about some people that attend those Brown games who face might not be able to walk. And let's just be honest, we live in 2025. They might can't walk over into that Parma area or that Strongsville or that North Royalton or all those Middleburg Heights. Those are all that Brook Park line that we're talking about. Those are all those city limits that travel down Brook Park. And those are city limits where they're taking their chances of attending to go to a football game and ended up in jail.
Well, the thing about it is like there's Brook Park is near that Brook Park Rapid Station, so they're trying to picture it around that. But I understand that, but there's a lot of people that go downtown to Cleveland that can't afford those tickets that look like us. So you see how expensive they are on StubHub and
you think they ain't gonna be more expensive in
Hey, it's gonna be like.
And what's that? That's the Rocky River area we talking about when we talk about that rapid station.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: they still expensive. So there's like the PSL licenses.
On the other hand, though, I can see moving it because then it might shut down on all these fights we got going down on town for tailgating.
That's probably one of the reasons why. I mean, they did shut down tailgating. The mayor has shut down tailgating on West 6 because there was a couple of fights. They did open up for the last home game against the Dolphins, which the Browns eventually lost to a backup, but I'm not even going to go there.
Did they shut it down in Muni Lot?
Yeah.
They never.
They never did.
The Muni Lot be cool, though.
Yeah, Muni.
West 6 is just wild. I seen a nigga get ran over. I mean, like, she ran into this dude. It was wild, man. It's wild out here. Y'all be safe. Y'all be safe on West 6.
Man, that's crazy.
I don't go on West 6.
I mean,
it used to be fun.
It did. It used to be a vibe.
Right. It used to be a vibe. Now it's like, more security and stuff like that. Things are just getting a little bit more violent than they used to, and we need to calm that down.
I prefer the bars out in the suburbs. Get me out in the suburbs.
I don't know. Well, I prefer home. That's what I prefer.
I mean, home, sometimes you want that feel of a vibe. Sometimes you want that feel of being around people that's like you and just having conversations. So
we can meet at somebody else home or run out of Airbnb.
That is true. That is true.
I am not listen, the one thing I want to come, like the main point of me going out, especially if I'm dressed to the nines, is to come back home the same way.
Amen. Well, you might want to come back home with that lady on your arm.
Well, but that's true. But as far as coming back home, you said it, I didn't. But you over that can of worms, I swear for God. But yeah, but thank you. So it's funny. But here's the thing. But the point is that you want to get back the same way you came. Maybe a little bit if you stumble in the house, but other than that, you want to make sure that
you get home.
You get home.
You get home, period.
You get home, period. Right.
So I agree.
So here's another thing that's very important to me. And before we get into the other scandalous stuff that's been going on around the televisions, is that what's very important to me is that safety is important, but also decorum, decency. It's okay if you celebrate it, the way you celebrate it, how you celebrate it, but respect other people, especially if you are around other people in the club, New Year's Eve, or just respect other people. I'm like, and I am not even talking about the men respecting the women. I am talking about that, but the women respecting the men, I just like.
Let's talk about women respecting themselves.
Yeah, that too. But the one thing that I want to say is that if somebody doesn't feel like buying you an alcoholic beverage in a place where you're partying, it doesn't mean that they broke. You don't have to insult them. You don't have to dog them or drag them through the mud. It's just that A, they might be with somebody that would not allow that to happen. Or B, even if they weren't with somebody that allowed it to happen, that is their choice not to buy you anything. You are not entitled just because, hey, he wanted my number to say, well, why don't you give me a drink?
The dating pool is
I'm not even like the dating
bad pool. It's bad out here, man.
This dating pool is full of acid sometimes. Or something like it's like, wow. Like, and then to go off on this person,
and then they pull out their cameras and start recording and calling them brokey and all that. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We can leave that in 2024.
Please do.
Leave that in 2024.
She killed it with that though. What's her name? Lotto.
Yeah,
that was dope.
Yeah, like you can leave.
It was
you can leave that, but you can leave that in
2024.
Right.
She did.
You can leave that in 2024. That's the first thing. Here's the second thing we're gonna leave in 2024. We gonna leave. Hopefully, we can leave some of this entitled behavior. Like, listen, men, guys, pull up to the camera. I'm gonna tell you like this. Pull pull up to the camera, listen on your phones, listen on the radio. If you listening to me on my Facebook Live, listen to me closely, very closely. We are not supposed to be chaste. Okay? We're not supposed to be chaste. You're not a baddie, okay? You are a man, a man. If you're looking for a woman, you have to do what you have to make sure that
there's nothing wrong with a woman.
Yeah, if a woman pursues you,
If she's shooting her shot.
if she's shooting her shot, that's fine.
That's fire. That's fire.
That's fire. But
I don't care what she look like. If she's shooting her shot, I gotta
Right.
entertain. I gotta entertain it.
But,
Hey, I low-key shot my shot at somebody and
but for a man to be waiting and complaining like a woman, like why she ain't buying me nothing,
Oh yeah, that's whack.
that's whack. That's
Hey, what you mean buying you something?
like a man is complaining about why don't she buy me a drink? What are you 5? like this is not your mother.
Do you buy drinks, AD?
Yes. I spoil dudes. I ain't gonna even hold you. But I like to be spoiled back. I'm all for 50-50.
Right.
So, yeah. But I agree. Like, a man shouldn't feel entitled, but I also don't think a woman should feel entitled either. I get back in the old school days where men was the ones buying drinks, but some of these women ain't worth you buying a drink for.
Preach. Say it again.
Man, what? Like, I'm not buying a drink for a female that's coming to the club with some tennis shoes on her feet. Like,
What?
And a what you call
Are they
a
allowed
bonnet?
in?
Yes, and a bonnet on her head. What we doing?
Apparently nothing right about now. I'm walking away. Like
They say ladies' night, drinks for the ladies. You ain't dressed like a lady, then I ain't obligated to buy you a drink.
like let's bring. Could we bring back class and decorum in 2025?
Please, decorum 2025.
All right, so there was a Christmas joke I wanted to bring up. It's like, in the White House for the manger scene, they were looking for 3 wise men, but they couldn't find any. But they found enough asses to fill the stable. But
That's a dad joke.
I am a dad. So it is a dad joke. So I am a dad. That's the ultimate dad. Like that's one of the. Hey, that's one of the good ones. I found. Hey, my sister found it hilarious.
I love dad jokes. I don't even hold you.
But I'm gonna say this about. Speaking of scandalous people, and oh God, we about to go. We gonna end break on this one, on the first one. So
You mean we're gonna begin break on this?
Begin break on this one, but I'm gonna start it off. So a couple of people at Fox Sports 1, Kevin H.O. of Speak for Yourself, the show on Speak for Yourself, Joy Taylor. And of course, the same show, Skip Bayless, the formerly undisputed, of course, LeBron, aka LeBron James' antagonist. All of them have been accused of sexual misconduct. Before I bring in my 2 cents, what do you think about all these being accused of sexual misconduct?
I don't. I said off camera. Don't ask me because I'm gonna always give it to you real. If somebody offering you 1.5 and you giving it up for free, I mean, yeah. I mean, he probably got 5 minutes in him. 1.5 for 5 minutes.
So this is allegedly.
But then I get morals and decorum too. So yeah.
Yeah, Skip Bayless offered his hairstylist 1.5 million for sexual favors, and I'm like,
and then it depends on what sexual favor.
And then I don't listen.
Some of these dudes, some of the stuff that these dudes jump in your inbox and say, every sexual favor ain't what you think it's gonna be.
Can you give us an example?
I done had a lot of people ask me to peg them.
You know what? I'm walking away from that. Running away from this post.
He asked.
I don't know why he even asked. But the point I'm trying to say is this: is that there's like there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes as far as, if you're on off camera. Fox News had some problems as well. Other stations have had problems, but I don't know who filed this lawsuit, for whatever notoriety. I mean, I want to leave all the nasty stuff back in 2024 along with Diddy, who is still in jail.
But what is considered nasty?
The thing about it is, it's got to, listen, stuff is consensual between two adults unless one adult doesn't agree. But the main thing that I want to say is that, why is this coming out now? What is the purpose of it coming out now for? When did this happen? What year was it? Especially everybody says stuff about Joy Taylor, who it was on Speak for Yourself saying that she slept her way to the top. And the thing about it is like, first of all, as far as, she's an African-American woman.
Of course.
And why is it not more reports about other executives? Why are these three being, Skip is a, Caucasian man, so, other Caucasian
Why
people.
is it when an African American woman sleeps with somebody in the same industry, she's sleeping until her way to the top? But when our
she's very pretty though.
Of course it is. It's always the pretty ones.
She's like,
but it's when we got people like, what's his name, Travis Hunter, who go to the other side and we say, oh, they sleeping their way to the top. We get trash for that. But where's the difference? Other than the fact that black women making their own money off of it.
Well, the thing about it is like it's discriminatory, but throwing Skip Bayless in. Listen, Skip Bayless has always been a weird guy to me. Period, point blank. But
in 2025, can we bring his career to an end?
His show over.
His show over. Undisputed is over.
Let's not talk about him in 2025.
Well, I don't like the thing about it is it was over. I thought it was over when he almost insulted Shannon Sharp, and Shannon Sharp almost killed him on camera. But Shannon held back.
He did.
And now he's on First Take with Stephen A. Shout out to Shannon. By the way,
and don't forget Club Shay Shay.
By the way, speaking of Club Shay Shay, there is going to be. Rumors are that him and Cat Williams will be doing another interview again.
Man, that boy about that sell.
What? No, I can't. I'm still looking at the first one with my eyes wide open with the Cat Williams. How much stuff he revealed and how much stuff come out.
Came true.
Lord,
you think everybody in America ain't about to tune into that interview?
I know that everybody's looking.
It was 3.6 million just last year, and we didn't know if he was telling the truth or not. Now we done seen it come true. Baby, listen, I'm about to have my popcorn, my wine, my friends. Yeah. So
I guess it's in the works. I don't know, because I think
that's very smart business.
Because they did it last year. What, in February?
Yeah, it was definitely at the beginning of the year.
It was the beginning of the year. So now they're talking about doing it this year.
I think they should do it at the beginning of the year.
Oh Lord, no. No.
I think they should capitalize on it before anybody else do.
Well, here's the thing with that whole scenario, because after what happened with the Cat Williams interview, pretty much everything else came out. Ricky Smiley had a fit. Steve Harvey had a fit. Cedric the Entertainer. Faison Love. Diddy went to jail. All this is like the bombs was dropping.
I was about to say the bombs. Like we on Pearl Harbor. The bombs was dropping.
We had people running for, we had a whole bunch of.
Even Ice Cube even spoke up. He had to
Ice Cube was
he had to speak up his name. Listen, we had celebrities coming out to
Mike
speak.
Epps was mad he didn't say his name.
Man, and now I was getting Mike Epps he felt like he had got shaded for his
and Shannon and him and Mike Epps almost had a fight. Shannon Mike Epps was talking smack to Shannon, and Shannon was like, I don't talking about him, and Eddie Griffin talking about Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay, Club Gay, all that other stuff like that. There was a whole bunch of angry people.
It was the fact that Shannon Sharp dropped that sex video or what you gonna call it?
I don't know what it was. Audio.
I don't know. He wasn't gay.
I like
Michelle.
Right. Take that.
Stop that. We going to break. Damn it!
I
quit. We're going to break. Jamming by Stevie Wonder. We'll be right back on WNRV108.1.com. Nerve DJs where you get on your nerves. We'll be right back. I gotta call my mama.
WNRV 108.1.
Everyone's feeling pretty. It's hot Thursday in July. Though the world's full of problems, they couldn't touch us even if they tried. From the park, I hear rhythms. Molly's heart on the box. Tonight there will be a party on the corner at the end of the block. Didn't know you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. See, nobody ever told you that you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. We'll be jamming and jamming and jamming and jam on. They want us to join the fighting, but our answer today is to let all our worries, like the breeze through our fingers, slip away. Peace has come to Zimbabwe. First world's right on the one. Now's the time for celebration, 'cause we all need just begun. Didn't know you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. See, nobody ever told you that you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. See, nobody ever told you that you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. I know nobody told you that you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. But we're jamming, 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 jamming on. You ask me, am I happy? Well, let's match her fact. I can say that I'm ecstatic, 'cause we all just made a pact. We've agreed to get together, join as children in Jah. When you're moving in the positive, your destination is the brightest star. You didn't know that you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. But nobody ever told you that you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. Oh, 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 you. We'll be jamming until the break of dawn. Don't just stop the music, no, 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 no. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, 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 now. No, no, love, ain't nobody doing it. Oh, 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 you. We'll be down until the break of dawn. Think there was someone that brought you yesterday to tell you that you could be jamming. You would not believe it, because they never thought that you would be jamming. Oh, 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 down to the break of dawn. Oh, you may as well believe what you are feeling.
Wagwan, this is Miss BBC, your reggae woman. Make sure you tune into the Headline Eye on WNRV 108.1.
NerveDJsMixtapes.com and MP3 DJ. DJs, are you tired of getting viruses from certain sites?
I mean, waiting for ads to pass? Pop-ups here, pop-ups there? If so, it's time for you to join Nerve DJ's MP3 pool. The Nerve DJ's MP3 pool has mass downloads, or you can pick and choose which track you want. All you have to do is register on NerveDJsMixtapes.com. Fill out a short application and make sure to check the exclusive members MP3 pool box. It's just that simple. After that, one of our team members will approve your app within 24 hours. Then you can start downloading the promotional tracks. Nerve DJ's MP3 pool, we have massive downloads, or you can pick and choose which tracks you want. Just make sure you register at NerveDJsMixtapes.com. That's NerveDJsMixtapes.com. NerveDJsMixtapes.com and MP3 DJ pool. Register today and you'll be glad you did. NerveDJsMixtapes.com.
Hey y'all, this is Catherine Danielle and I'm checking in with Headline Eye on WNRV 108.1.
This is WNRV 108.1.
Gotta serve it to me hot, just like I like my coffee. It's keeping me from sleeping on my job, just like I like my coffee. Serve it to me tall, strong, dark, just like I like my coffee. That's the way I like my man. That's how you gotta love me. That's the way I like my coffee. It's like the way you wake me up, like Moses in my cup. You get me all excited. I'm thinking about how you do yours. Slow, steady, stir, the flavor I prefer. Go back to where we were. I always remember you brew your love. I can't get enough. I think that I'm in love. If you let me get a refill, stimulate my mind. You keep me on my grind. I'm so glad you're mine. I think that I'm addicted. Gotta serve it to me hot. Serve it to me hot. Just like I like my coffee. It's keeping me from sleeping on my job. Keep me from sleeping on my job. Just like I like my coffee. Serve it to me tall, strong, dark. Just like I like my coffee. That's the way I like my man. That's how you gotta love me. That's the way I like my coffee. You see it on my face. My heart about to break. I'm trying to keep the peace. Make me wanna get it.
All right, we're back on the Headline Eye. I actually did have to check on my mama after that last segment.
But it's right for me. I need it in the morning. Early crack of dawn. It makes me going. So keep it flowing.
Prayers to my mama, Anita France.
Is she okay? Prayers
She
to
just fell at work at community assessment. It was like, shout out to the cats for making sure that she was good. And I just talked to her. She was like, you had to come in the cold. I'm like, I'm gonna come anyway. You play with me. But yeah, she just keeping her spirits up. So she's fine. But we just make sure that y'all are careful, especially out here in this snow and ice, especially as you fall. You don't want to don't strain yourself, especially especially the older people. And I'm not saying that y'all can't do it. It's just that, for a younger person, it's winter is unbearable. So it will be. We had a couple of snowstorms. It's still slippery outside. Just make sure y'all good. Speaking of slippery slope, there's a couple of things, as far as, Elon Musk, just talking crazy, about what's been going on and, Trump letting him do it. I don't know what this 2025 is going to bring as far as the administration, but a lot of people said that, Trump is unhinged and that's what they like.
He is. They are right.
I think that tact is very important, especially with elected officials, especially having the highest seat in office, that same, gung-ho craziness got him unvoted in 2020.
It's like people got amnesia though about that.
Well, people got amnesia about January 6th, 2021.
Thank
so
you. Can we just acknowledge that January 6th is the biggest undocumented treason act in America, and we're ignoring it and then letting the person who initiated it back into office?
Yeah, pretty much. That's completely.
And then Marjorie went and visited one of the what they call them, insurrects. From
The insurrectionists?
Yeah, from January 6th. Hugging. They threw money at him. What?
You mean Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yeah.
Listen, if any, I wish I would have left her in 2024.
But we didn't.
But Which is crazy. So I want to say that when you have that, by the way, before he's inaugurated on Martin Luther King Day, which I am not going to watch at all. I am turning it to another channel.
I've never watched an inauguration. I'm not going to start.
You make your eyes pop out of your head and your retina bleed. But January 10th. Now this is in New York. Now remember, Trump still hadn't got sentenced for all those convictions, so he is going to get sentenced.
What's the point? He can pardon himself.
Right, but the judge said, "Well, there'll be no jail time."
Exactly. He can.
Are you kidding me? But no, we knew that was going to happen. Why announce it? Like, well, he's getting sentenced, but there's no jail time. Then what is the point of announcing it in the first place?
But the guy who had a PV violation and the judge sentenced him to 3 years. Granted, it was silly that he jumped over that bench and attacked that judge. Mm-hmm. He got 26 years for that, for a PV violation, and of course attack on a federal officer is definitely punishable with the time he get. But didn't Trump initiate attacks on federal officers? Like, make it make sense. Like, or we keep pointing out, well, he did this. That was a judge. That's an officer of the court. So were the people inside the Capitol that were hurt. So was the officers and security guards who were injured and killed. We're not talking about regular citizens who got injured. We're talking about people who took oaths to serve and protect, people who are a part of your government administration, and we are ignoring it.
Well, here's my whole thing with that. We can't unsee what we saw on January 6, 2021. Right. But it's like everybody wants to bury that, especially the MAGA supporters wants to bury that in their back of the mind.
You didn't even hear them talking about it yesterday.
Of course, they weren't going to talk about it.
You would have thought it would. We still talk about 9/11.
Right.
But it was silence. Yes, you wouldn't even know yesterday was January 6th.
Right. So a lot of people wanted to ignore that.
Of course.
But the thing about it is like you can't ignore the fact that 7,500 people stormed the Capitol to try to kill elected officials on Capitol Hill, and the person that made it, all Trump said he did was make a speech. You were the captain of the ship, sir. And the thing about it is like you don't like it's called the one.
You think they was gonna kill him or just rough him up?
Well, they was gonna kill him.
No,
they was gonna kill.
Nobody had no yoppers on them.
Well, nobody
had no yoppers.
I mean, the thing about
they took that
you see the man with the Viking,
and they beat him with his own baton.
Right.
They didn't need to come with the weapons. The weapons was
already there. They was gonna take their weapons. So. Like the dude with the Viking helmet on, yeah, he was looking like he wasn't gonna play tiddlywinks with Mike Pence. He was gonna try to beat Mike Pence to a pulp. So
as Mike Pence, I would probably be really upset with the world right now.
I mean, a lot of people are upset with the world. I mean, I think the Prime Minister of Canada, because they switched over to a new party, he stepped down. So not unrelated to the United States of America, but he stepped down and he was crying. So there's a lot of people, a lot of people who are not happy. And the thing about it is like, but before Biden is leaving, Biden has pardoned a whole bunch of people. Like, listen, if we gonna let a convicted felon in the White House, I might as well just pardon everybody else who's a convicted felon as well. So
I don't agree with that either.
But
a lot of people off of death row that should have stayed on there.
Yeah, but wait a minute, I forget there's two people that didn't want to be commuted, their sentences be commuted, that Biden commuted. So they wanted, like, y'all wanted to stay in jail? Okay. Question mark on that one, but
I mean, some people had already come to terms that their death was near. They had already got their mindset ready for that. Now you telling them, hey, you might have been about to be executed in 6 months, but now you're gonna stay in jail for into the rest of your life, which could be another 20 years.
No, when it says commuted, that means they can, like, to the point of where they were going to be freely.
No, it's only commuted to from life from death
Oh,
row to life
well.
life sentences.
I guess they decided that a long time ago. But the thing about it is it is weird that we have. So now that the felon in chief is going to be in office, that's what he's going to be. That's like he's a convicted felon. Like I said, the felon in chief. And a lot of people said, I'm going to vote for the felon and the female. So they went to that side. So now we're going to have a lot of people. So we should just listen in 2025. What we should do.
Mind our black business.
I'm a mind a business that pays me. You know, like, I'm a mind a business that works out for me. This show, everything else. But here's the thing. We should take felon off the application, period. Just remove it.
Off of every application.
Off of every application.
Housing applications.
All that.
Felons should be able to vote. If a felon can run the world, then felons should be able to vote.
But they can vote in Ohio.
Well,
yeah.
But not in all 51 states, though.
Yeah.
So if Trump can run all 51 states, then in all 51 states, felons should be able to vote.
So just take, just take it off.
Yeah, let's just
take it off.
This goes a lot to tell people life ain't fair. You know, life ain't fair.
But it shows.
You gotta be the cards you dealt with. You just gotta whoop-dee-whoop-dee-whoop-whoop-dee-whoop.
Right.
You do.
Life ain't fair, but it sure is crazy as hell. But as far as, and the thing about it is, there's people that are disgruntled about the voting process. I guess this is one of the reasons why.
But they had a chance to change it and they voted it out.
Well, like the thing about it is you know, I get it, but the thing about it is this is the end result. If you don't participate, you don't get to decide who your leader is.
Facts.
Or you don't get to be a part of the particular process. Now, as everybody knows, I was not for the orange man, but I did put in my bid, period. Now, did it go the way that I wanted to go? Hell
Absolutely
no.
Not.
Hell no. But you know what? I did my part as far as the process. I talked about it here. I pushed and participated in the voting process. And that's pretty much what you want. You know, getting educated. Now, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Hey,
every single time you learn.
Right, but you learn. Period. I mean, the thing about it is the Cavs didn't win every game this year. We know the Browns didn't win every game this year. So, yes, I'm going to pick on them because of the simple fact of the matter is, listen.
Leave my brownies alone.
Listen, they need to put a better product on the damn field. And the thing about it is, speaking of better product on the field.
Didn't they fire their coach, though?
Well, the Browns have released offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey. I knew that was going to happen. And their offensive line coach. But Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are still intact. Now,
you think that's going to stay that way?
One of them got to go.
One of them going to have to go. I don't know which one is going to
stay.
I think Andrew Berry might.
That nigga.
He might
He
leave.
might be gone.
He might be gone. But the thing about it is, speaking of gone, but there's a saving grace.
What's the saving grace?
Now, we know about the guaranteed money that quarterback Deshaun Watson has gotten. We also know that Deshaun Watson has suffered a setback from his Achilles injury that he suffered against the Cincinnati Bengals back in October. Mm-hmm. There is, however, the Browns have an insurance policy of $50 million if Deshaun Watson never steps back in the Browns uniform or on the field, meaning that there is a $50 million insurance coverage. And you know his last 2 years of his contract, which would include in 2025 and 2026, you know what that equals up to?
What?
Close to $50 million.
So they covered their bases.
Pretty much. So if they wanted to draft another quarterback, now there's a couple of them coming out. You know, we know about Cam Ward from Miami and Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, Deion's son. Well, Primetime son. Excuse me, Prime. Sorry, Coach Prime. I mean to say it like that. But they are like the top two draft picks, along the Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter and a couple other quarterbacks. There's also quarterbacks in free agency that will be released by the other teams when after this season is over or before the salary cap hits, when they had to re-sign a roster bonus again. So that quarterback room could look pretty different. So when it comes time for next season, and they're like, the thing about it is like a lot of people say, well, the Browns were foolish to sign him to a guaranteed contract. Listen, I'm going to say this about corporate structures. No one's ever looking really foolish. Meaning this, that there's always a fail-safe.
There's always
a fail-safe.
Listen.
Even if it's the last fail-safe to save, excuse me, a little bit of money. There's always a fail-safe.
I encourage everybody in their life to always have a fail-safe. Like money is not wasted if you have a second plan and there's a backup plan. Before we go, though, I wanted to ask you 2 questions. How do you feel about Trump complaining about the flag flying half-staff in honor of Jimmy Carter at the inaugural?
Are we surprised that he would say something like that? Were we surprised? We dealt with 4 years of Trump's ranting, raving, crying, and complaining from 2016 to 2020. Throughout the course of the time, he said there was a conspiracy when he lost the election the first time in 2020. Now he's coming back, and then listen, the leopard don't change his spots. Neither does an orange person, other the orange man. So I'm not surprised. I'm like with him, nothing surprises me anymore. Except if he says something decent, but
that's not gonna happen.
It's like in some instances maybe it's decent, some instances maybe it's not. Him complaining about it.
He did speak up and give his condolences for the stuff that happened in New Orleans. So we're gonna acknowledge that. We're
gonna acknowledge him saying like he's saying something decent like that. If I'm going to acknowledge the bad about Trump, which I usually do, I'm going to acknowledge the good. He did say something about that.
He did.
And the thing about it is like there's a lot of stuff that. Listen, I'm gonna be very honest with you. This, it starts again at the local level, the state level, and up to the federal level. So if you have a lot of stuff that's crazy, then you have to start looking at your mayors, your judges, in the local level, in the state level, before you build up to the federal level. Sometimes the federal level can confuse you if you look all the way down, but if you look all the way up from the building blocks all the way up to the top, then you know who runs what. So be more mindful. And by the way, I don't want to use that word demure. I want to leave that in 2024 for real.
Because they didn't even know
be mindful, be demure. What? Stop it. Just
first of all, demure is for females. So for to be seeing men say I'm demure, like go read the dictionary. What did you think about the situation with Robert Brooks?
Robert Brooks?
The black man who was serving time in jail for killing his girlfriend. He was sentenced to 12 years in jail. He was transferred from one jail to another, and the very next day he was handcuffed, shackled at the feet, taken into a infirmary room and beat to death by, I think it was about 6 or 7 police correctional officers.
And listen, in this instance, you're not supposed to do that as far as law enforcement. And I understand, it's Black Lives Matter and everything else like that. But in a situation of where he was transferred, that sounds like, it was like there was a 74-year-old man in Cleveland Heights and a 74-year-old woman that got shot by somebody. The woman eventually died from the injuries of the gunshot. I think the thing about with the Robert Brooks and some things are like that these were isolated incidents. They were setups. I think that the Brooks incident was a setup because if he killed somebody, if he killed a woman and the cops took him into the infirmary to beat him to death, that was a systematic plan.
Amen.
To take this dude out. Like
somebody wasn't happy with him only getting 12 years.
Right.
That's what that was.
So the thing about it is just like the dude that kidnapped those 3 girls on the west side, he ended up committing suicide, quote unquote.
Castro,
the Ariel Castro. Castro ain't committing no damn suicide.
Ooh, when I said that, people
were like, yes, he did. No, he didn't.
Ooh, they attacked me so bad.
No, the thing about it is in there some instances where, listen, if you did something to for instance, if you are a cop killer and they put you in isolation, pray. Because they listen, If you are a child molester, you go to prison. Pray. If you are convicted of it and you know you did it, if you're that individual, whatever God that you need to pray to, you better pray to him right now, because you're going to need that God. Whether you believe whether it's Jesus, Allah, or Buddha, you're going to need him. Or you're going to need that God to pray to them, because if you come out alive, you are very lucky. Or if you come out unscathed with minimum injuries, you are very lucky. That's the main thing that I want to say. But at the same time, do I think it's wrong for police officers to do something like that? Of course I do. But in sometimes, the mess around and find out, always in that particular favor. Sometimes in that instance, you killed the woman. That woman might have been related to an officer. You don't know who people are linked to.
Man, that part right there.
You don't know who people are linked to. And you don't know how vengeful people can be. You can see that. Just like if the terrorist would have survived him shooting at the police, I don't think it's highly unlikely. His life would have been a living hell.
Even if he survived on Bourbon Street or Canal, he had to survive the trip to the jail.
Mm-hmm.
He had to survive booking. He had to survive jail. Then he had to turn around and survive prison. It wasn't
in the cars.
It wasn't.
They killed him.
The best thing and it's sad to say that, but the best thing that could have happened to him happened to him.
He was getting shot right then and there.
Yeah,
he probably would have been tortured on the way there to the facility.
Which is what happened with Robert Brooks. If I had to choose between Robert Brooks' death and I can't think of his name, the
guy, the terrorist from New Orleans with the truck.
Yeah, give me that quick. Shoot me, I'm gone. Robert Brooks had to watch himself be beat to death, knowing he was being beat to death. My hands are handcuffed, my feet are handcuffed. There is nothing I can do right now but sit here and endure this, knowing I'm taking my last breath.
Now, if he was innocent, or if it was I'll be outraged about the George Floyd, when everybody was outraged about George Floyd, the knee on the neck thing. Everybody was outraged about that. We sat at home, watched the pandemic, everything else like that. As far as Mr. Brooks is concerned, if you listen, you're killing an innocent woman.
Yes,
I feel bad for loss of life as far as me being human, but at the same time, I can't be I'm a march for. I'm not marching for him.
We're definitely not.
I ain't marching for you
at all.
Nope.
But and as a follow up to that, yeah, I agree with that completely, because you took somebody's life. That's just facts. But also, I take into consideration two other things. One, you were sentenced, so you're already paying restitution for your crime. Two, being as somebody in the law field and knowing how it works, you have to take into account and it's not to take anything away from the life that was lost at the hands of Mr. Brooks. But when you only get sentenced to 12 years, there was something missing in that case that stopped you from getting life. So that means those extenuating circumstances or the mitigating circumstances, it ain't as clear paths or as paved out as people think it is. So a lot of people are saying that it wasn't as the situation